Hello and welcome, everyone. What an incredible day and exciting opportunity that has brought us together today on this platform. Whether you're joining us from far or near, a very warm welcome from the 2025 Advocates of Silence Turkey Giving Tuesday event, where we are hopeful and determined to create a bigger impact this year. As you will see in the series of content we will be sharing today, you will witness not only the products, but also future-focused goals of people dedicated to the betterment of humanity. Their work includes impactful projects, eye-opening documentaries, heartfelt exhibits, groundbreaking reports, and many other initiatives they have completed or are striving to bring to life. Every year around this time, Giving Tuesday of ASD reminds me of the beautiful things that happen amid the chaos of everyday life, and it inspires me to look forward to all that's yet to come. I, Kübra Ünver, am a third culture nomad and also a registered psychotherapist in both Canada and the United States. I am thrilled to stand here with you as we embark on this meaningful journey together tonight. Join me and my lovely friend Carrie, who is co-hosting this event with me for the second time, and whose love language is truly service to the humanity, as we make tonight unforgettable for all the right reasons.
And I'm Dr. Carrie O'Rourke, and I am so very honored to be here with Kubra to guide you through this presentation. I'm from Kansas City, and I live in the heartland of the United States, and I wish you each many, many blessings. So for whatever time zone you're joining us, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good day, I would like to personally thank each and every one of you for being here with us today. We are pleased to welcome you to our 2025 virtual fundraising event for the Advocates of Silence Turkey. Who are we? Well, Kubra and I are members of Advocates of Silence Turkey, or AST. And AST is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization based in the United States, and it was established in July 2016. Since that fateful date, the Turkish government has unjustly and inhumanely imprisoned hundreds of thousands of people. Individuals, including homemakers, teachers, NGO workers, academics, judges, prosecutors, soldiers, journalists, and many others, all due to their affiliation with the Gülen or Hizmet movement. Hizmet is a Turkish word that simply means service. And service in Turkish is something that is really, really a high priority and an important value to the Hizmet people. Those affiliated with the movement are part of a civil society intended on building a more peace-filled world through their collective good works. Once hailed as a model of democracy, Turkey now silences dissent under an oppressive political regime. Mass incarceration and widespread human rights violations have become normalized. Under Erdogan's leadership, 187 media outlets have been shut down. 308 journalists are now political prisoners, with many others living in exile. Since the failed alleged coup attempt of July 15, 2016, human rights in Turkey have been stripped away, and respect for the dignity of human life has vanished within the government. We are a group of lawyers, judges, academics, journalists, and activists committed to defending democratic ideals and universal human rights, both throughout Turkey and the world. The victims of this genocide have endured tremendous hardship. Many have been imprisoned, detained, and tortured. In many instances, families have been separated, and unbelievably, infants and small children, 750 is the current count, have been forced to accompany their mothers into the prisons. Thousands now live in exile as refugees around the world due to the current regime's abuses of authority and power. We are the Advocates of Silence Turkey, and we are determined to fight for the restoration of human rights and democracy in Turkey. Speaking of which, Here's how you can make a tangible difference tonight. Scan the QR code and choose the method that works best for you. Write down some numbers there. Nothing is considered little here tonight. What I always say is 1 is better than 0. And what is even better than 1 is a 1 with some zeros after it. I'm just kidding, no pressure. Every cent given will help ensure the stories are heard, rights are restored, and futures are brighter for the victims of this genocide. For every contribution, thank you so very much in advance. Each contribution will be greatly valued and appreciated. So let's get started. Allow me to introduce our very first guest tonight, the president of Advocates of Silence Turkey, Sadri Altanak, for his welcoming speech.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Carrie, for the introduction. I am very humbled and honored to be here with you and everybody on the call. I extend my greetings and utmost respect to all of my friends and AST volunteers from around the world who are participating in our program. Since its inspection, AST has remained faithful to the principles outlined in its charter, which you can find on its website. It has tirelessly fulfilled its duty to be the voice of the silent masses, which is truly commendable. The amount of work accomplished by the AST staff and volunteers are a blessing from the God. We are very thankful to each and every one of you. The background picture I chose for the room tonight has a meaning for me. Here is what I see. Every shining star on the world map represents one of you. Stars outside the world are your guardian angels, applauding and praying and appreciating for what you do. Today, as our speakers will remind you throughout the program, that we humbly request the financial and moral support from all of our friends around the world to make sure that many projects we are pursuing now will continue going forward. As a reminder, AST gets 98% of its funding from the individual donors. We are thankful that we have a large base of individuals and volunteers who donate and fund the projects at their choosing. The projects we have successfully completed in the past are a guarantee for our ongoing and future endeavors. Documentaries like Other Children and Metamorphosis, the Freedom Convention, exhibition of silent screams, song and poetry competitions, forums, hundreds of reports, book publishing, and dozens of similar other projects are all success stories brought to life by AST volunteers. We are very thankful for it. We are working diligently to show the exhibition of silent screams at 5 more state houses and 10 more cities this year. That's our goal. As you might know, we already showed these exhibits in New York and Pennsylvania states and many, many cities around the United States and Europe. Similarly, the AST Event Hall, which opened in New Jersey a few years back, serves as a wonderful reminder to our friends from all over the world, presenting a summary of our work. The mementos sent to the AST by the victims of persecution are also on display here. We'll be delighted if our friends visiting New Jersey area would make room in their schedule to come and visit the AST Event Hall. The financial resources necessary for these projects to continue are once again being provided by your generous support. Your consistent monthly donation, regardless of the amount, are vital for AST. We are fully confident that our friends around the world will continue to show their generosity, even increasing further tonight. Your presence today is the testament to your compassion, your commitment to justice, and your belief in the power of collective action. By volunteering your time and energy, you are helping to give voice to the silenced and create positive change. We ask We ask that you reach out to your friends to make this a successful day, to let them know about this fundraiser, and above all, to offer your prayers. I humbly extend my gratitude to each and every one of you contributors and volunteers for what you do to be a voice for the silenced. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you, President, for emphasizing what it means to amplify the voices of the silenced. Dear viewers, your generosity will ripple beyond this very moment. This year, we have a powerful mission that we are inviting you to help us realize, reaching 150 monthly donation subscribers. Monthly subscribers are the backbone of our work. They give us stability, consistency, and the ability to plan long-term projects that truly transforms many lives across different life stages. Even a modest monthly gift creates lasting momentum. Last year, our target was 112 monthly supporters, and we didn't just meet it, but we soared to 250. This year, we are aiming even higher with the goal of 150 monthly donors. So if you haven't joined our monthly giving family yet, now is the perfect moment. Your continued support doesn't just fund the projects, but it fuels progress every single month. We will pull up a QR code on our screen. So you can just point your camera at the code and move forward from there. We will be also showing different links that you can go as you prefer to make your donations and subscriptions, including PayPal and Zelle.
Wow, look at that, Gruber. We already have 20 monthly donors pledging. That's amazing. Our goal is 150. I know we can get there. We've just gotten started. So please, please keep it up. And thank you already for your generosity. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
And we have many, yep.
So we're going to be seeing the Freedom Convention. We're going to have a little video about the Freedom Convention coming up. I was one of the speakers at the Freedom Convention last year. It was such an honor. It was amazing, actually. And because freedom is something that we all value very highly, and it's a prized thing. But the Freedom Convention in Washington, D.C. brings together survivors, advocates, and experts to spotlight Turkey's deepening authoritarian crisis and charge paths towards justice under the theme Turkey at the Crossroads. Democracy and justice in focus. That's the theme this year. It's amazing. Turkey at a crossroads. We're at a very pivotal point in history. And justice and democracy is a huge, huge topic. The event features two panels, one on how laws are weaponized to crush dissent and erode judicial independence, and another on state-sponsored violence, censorship, and discrimination against women, minorities, journalists. Alongside these discussions, the haunting Silent Screams exhibits shares memories, shares objects that are artifacts from imprisoned and exiled families, many of whom have perished in this genocide. It's more than a conference. It's a call to reclaim rights, resist repression, and imagine a future rooted in freedom and dignity. The Freedom Convention is something you definitely won't want to miss. And do we have a video, or are we just going to say we're going to? I believe we have a video.
On December 10th in Washington, D.C., Freedom Convention Turkey 2025 brings together survivors, advocates, scholars, and policymakers under the theme Turkey at the Crossroads, Democracy and Justice in Focus. As repression deepens and voices are silenced, this convention creates a powerful space for truth-telling and action. Two panels lead the conversation: Law, Rights, and Repression, Authoritarianism on Trial. exposing how Turkey's legal system is weaponized, and state violence, censorship, and discrimination, amplifying the struggles of women, journalists, minorities, and dissidents. Alongside, the haunting Silent Screams exhibition honors memory objects from imprisoned, deceased, and exiled families. This is more than a gathering. It is a call to reclaim justice, to imagine a future built on dignity, truth, and freedom for all.
My dear friend, Dr. Hafsa Gerdap, is here to tell us more about this. She is an assistant professor of sociology, criminology, and anthropology at Hofstra University and the spokesperson for Advocates of Silence Turkey. She earned her PhD in women's, gender, and sexuality studies from Stony Brook University in New York. Her research focuses on gender, race, immigration, and women's rights in Muslim majority contexts, with particular attention to the integration and identity transformation of Muslim immigrant women. Dr. Gerdap also directs the gender program at the European Center for Populism Studies, ECPS, and co-founded Set Them Free, a gender-based advocacy initiative. She serves as the co-chair of the Muslim Feminist Caucus within the National Women's Studies Association, NWSA, and is a member of the Sister to Sister Committee of Sociologists for Women in Society, SWS. An active advocate for women's rights, Dr. Gerdap has organized and spoken at United Nations General Assembly and the Commission on the Status of Women panels, amplifying the voices of women and mentoring youth to engage in global dialogues on gender and justice. And if you didn't get it from that intro, let me just tell you, Dr. Gerdap is a force to be reckoned with when it comes to advocacy and gender-based rights and speaking for those who have no voice. Ladies and gentlemen, Hafsa.
Thank you so much for this amazing introduction, my dear friend, Dr. O'Rourke. I'm really humbled. And I've been listening to other speakers, Mr. Altınok, the board president of the AST, and as my friends, my dear MCs, and everyone is touching on, I'm gonna also touch on the human rights efforts, why they are important, and how Freedom Convention is playing out in this domain. So basically, human rights refer to the rights of every person, regardless of what, and that every person possess simply by being a human. No conditions, no exceptions, and these rights are supposed to be universal, guaranteed, and protected, especially by the states, by the governments. But today, we face, global-wide, we face a painful truth. Unfortunately, human rights can be taken away in an instant, and in Turkey, they are being dismantled deliberately, systematically, and without any shame. For years, the Turkish government has not merely failed to protect basic freedoms, basic rights, it has punished those who dare to claim them. Since 2016, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the situation, freedoms, basic, human rights, civil rights, the Turkish government it has punished who are asking for these civil rights, especially since 2016, and countless people, academics, journalists, mothers, with their babies even, students, lawyers, minors, ordinary citizens, they have been silenced through imprisonment, exile, separation, family separations, and mostly fear. And, and families have been torn apart. Children have grown up visiting their parents behind bars. Some lost their lives on their way to visit their parents. And the right to speak, to dream, to simply exist without fear has been criminalized, which we call social death, civil death nowadays. And entire communities have been targeted not for what they have done, but for who they are. Kurdish communities, Alevi communities, those who are somehow allegedly affiliated with the Gulen movement. And it was amid this darkness that Advocates of Silence Turkey, AST in short, was founded in 2017. And from the very beginning, AST has stood by those who lost their freedom, their livelihoods, and sometimes even their loved ones. We have worked tirelessly to document violations, support survivors, and defend values that authoritarianism seeks to erase: truth, dignity, and justice. And when the crisis only deepened, we responded with action, launching the Freedom Convention in 2020 as a space to gather, to grieve, to remember, and to rise together. And in moments like these, conferences are not just events. They are lifelines. They create rare, precarious spaces where truth can be spoken without fear, and where survivors are heard, believed, and embraced. When we gather, we do more than share stories. We restore hope, and we build community, and we transform grief into courage and action. By coming together, I mean, we hold on to memory, we forge solidarity, and we turn this compassion into collective action, collective power. Um, and so here in 2025, as Turkey stands at a critical crossroads, we come together again. This year's theme is called Turkey at the Crossroads, Democracy and Justice in Focus. And at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., we will gather survivors, advocates, scholars, journalists, and policymakers, as well as community organizers who refuse to accept injustice as fate. We gather because what is happening in Turkey is not a political crisis, it's a human crisis. And our response must be rooted in humanity. And we'll highlight two important panel sessions in this year's convention. The first one, Law, Rights, and Repression, Authoritarianism on Trial, will show how the Turkish legal system, judiciary system, once a safeguard, or it should be a safeguard, has been weaponized to break lives. Panelists will examine the destruction of judicial independence, the refusal to implement international rulings, and the normalization of repression under a disguise of legality. And yet they will also highlight something powerful: the brave lawyers, researchers, activists who continue fighting for accountability even when the darkness seems overwhelming. And the second session, State Violence, Censorship, and Discrimination, will center those who suffer the most: women who face gender-based state violence, journalists who are imprisoned for just telling the truth, minorities who are targeted because of their identity, and those political dissidents who are being punished for their beliefs, their thoughts, opinions, and environmental defenders resisting the destruction of the nature also in Turkey. And alongside these panel discussions will be the Silent Screams exhibition, a heartbreaking archive of the objects, belongings that we got from those in prison, exiled, and deceased families across Turkey. And these objects, these belongings are not just items, they are memories, they are cries for justice, they are reminders that behind every number, every statistics, is a life, is a family, is a story which matters. And tonight I also want to honor them. And we will also screen the documentary, The Decree by Necla Demirci, a courageous documentary that has been banned by the Turkish government. Through the real stories of two people whose lives were unappended, it will expose the brutality of Turkey's democratic and judicial collapse. And my friends, my fellow advocates, these conventions, this gathering, all these efforts, they are more than a gathering, more than, just, daily efforts. They are cries and calls for action, for justice. Now, our work does not end with listening. I'm telling you, I'm calling you. This is not just about listening. It begins here, actually. You hear, you learn about the suffering of those people, and it cannot wait. They need our advocacy, they need visibility, they need legal support and humanitarian relief, so they need us. They need you here, now, and together. So let's never forget, authoritarianism thrives in silence, and freedom, on the other hand, grows when we raise all together our voices. So we hope that all this, action, collective action, grows when we refuse turn away. So concluding what I want to say, I want to leave with this: nothing that I have discussed tonight is distant or abstract. It's not only happening in Turkey, it can happen anywhere. So behind every statistic is a voice, is a life, is a mother, is a student, is a child who's waiting for someone, anyone, us, you, to stand with them. And tonight, that someone is all of us. So thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. And thank you for choosing to stand with the silence.
Thank you, Dr. Girdab, for underlying the specifics of the themes that needs to be amplified and how conventions could be a venue to create safe space for the truth to be spoken. Right now, we will move to the next segment where, similar to the Freedom Convention, we will be showing many other projects that ASD is working on in the name of fighting for restoration of human rights and democracy in Turkey. For the dollars that you will be donating, here are some of the projects that ASD will be using. Awesome. So now you have some ideas to where the donations will be used. And now I would like to invite our next speaker, who is Orizi Soltes. I have had the personal pleasure of meeting him several times, especially during my time working at the Rumi Forum in Washington, D.C., where he also serves as a board member. His depth of knowledge and the unique perspectives he views together are truly remarkable. He teaches art history, theology, philosophy, and political history at Georgetown University. A former director of the B'nai B'rith Klutznik National Jewish Museum, he has curated over 85 exhibits and authored more than 280 works, including Our Sacred Signs, Searching for Oneness, Embracing the World, and God and the Goalposts. Please welcome Orzi Zoltes.
As we come closer to Thanksgiving, we think not only of the many things for which we have to be thankful in terms of our safety, our security, our comforts, our families who will be with us, our families who, if they're not with us, are safe, the kind of foods that we will eat. And of course, it behooves us also to think about the many who have less than we do, who are enduring what we are not, who are suffering what we cannot imagine. And when I think about suffering in the world, I think among many places, in particular of Turkey, whose dictator, whose autocrat, Erdogan, has destroyed what was a vibrant democracy gradually between 2013 and 2017, 18, who governs without conscience, who has imprisoned per capita more Turks than any other country has done per capita across the planet, who has tortured, who has murdered, and whose tentacles extend beyond Turkey, so that anywhere there are those who disagree with him or whom he believes are disagreeers with him, where he can bully or where he can bribe, he destroys. He closes down schools established by those who are trying to help others. He takes away and puts into prison those whom he discerns to be his enemies. When we think about that, we think about an organization like the Advocates of Silenced Turkey, AST, an organization which exists to struggle against what Erdogan is doing to Turks within and beyond Turkey. It's one of many organizations that we need to think about, that we need to support. And as we gather towards gathering on Thanksgiving, AST is an organization to which we should think very strongly about contributing to help sustain their efforts to struggle against the oppression that is being meted out so profoundly and so completely by the current regime in Turkey. Think about that and act on it as well. Thank you.
Hey, Kubra, Ori Soltis came to speak in Kansas City at our friendship dinner. He's amazing. He's an amazing speaker, and being on the board of the Rumi Forum is certainly very blessed to have him there because he's amazing. And he actually met with Fethullah Gulen in person and to write his book. Pretty amazing guy. So I'm really grateful that he was willing to share with us just now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you want to talk about the exhibit?
Sure. So we would like to introduce you a wonderful exhibit. When this exhibit was first announced last year, I remember thinking to myself, I wonder if they will come here referring Canada, and not gonna lie, with a hint of envy that I had at the time. When I learned that they would be coming here last year, I was so excited that I could hardly contain myself. And that's where I met you, Curry, in person at the time, and also Aslıhan Kaş. And when I went to the exhibition and looked at each of the artifacts on display, there was bittersweet smiles and tears soaking like my cheeks and also other people as well. Listening that heart-wrenching stories and witnessing the inspiring resilience of the people, it was impossible not to be moved by the strength of the spirit in each of those stories. Do you want to tell a little bit more about the exhibition of Silent Screams?
It was amazing. It's been an amazing experience. And yes, it was so great to meet you in person and to meet all the people in Toronto and in Ottawa, and in all the cities that we've had the exhibit. It started several years ago in New Jersey, started what we thought was a really big event. We had the artifacts there, and I said to Aslıhan, I said, this can't stay here. This has to go someplace else. We have to take this around so people can really see, people can witness what's really happening. And the thing that moved me was I really didn't know. I didn't know much about it, but I was there. I was like, wow, this is overwhelming. I was standing next to this one frame, and in that frame was somebody's jean jacket. And a woman, a very small, she was very short, woman came up to me, and she didn't speak English very well. She spoke mostly Turkish, but she pointed to that frame and she said, "That was my brother's." And immediately the tears came down my face. I felt such empathy for her. That belonged to her brother, and he perished in this genocide that's occurring, and it's just unbelievable. And there's not a person that walks through this exhibit that isn't moved like that. You can't help but be moved by that. And it's traveled all across the United States and to Canada, and um, it's amazing. It's just amazing, and it really shows it shows the humanity, the actual lives that have been touched through these violations of human rights in Turkey, through these relics and these artworks and these personal testimonies. And each one of them has a placard with it that tells the story of the individual. And we brought it to Kansas City, and it's gone to 30 or 40 places now, and it's been in capital and state capitals, and it's just taken on a life, and it keeps those stories alive. Those people are not forgotten, and their lives continue to have meaning, and that's what makes it really powerful. And I'm getting choked up just talking about it right now, so maybe we should watch the video.
Advocates of Silence Turkey continue to be the voice of the voiceless. The exhibition of Silent Screams is a traveling exhibition uncovering the human rights violations in Turkey through powerful relics, evocative artwork, and deeply moving personal testimonies. Each piece tells a story of pain, of courage, and of silent resilience. More than 450 personal items are on display belonging to Kurds, Alevis, members of the Hizmet movement, women, children, journalists, politicians, and activists. People of diverse faiths, ethnicities, and ideologies, all united by a shared experience of oppression. This exhibition has traveled to more than 20 cities in the United States and has been featured in over 40 events. Thousands have walked through these halls and left changed. Our goal is to raise awareness, foster empathy, and inspire global advocacy. We invite you to bring this meaningful exhibition to your city, share these stories, open hearts, spark conversations, support the ongoing fight for human rights. Every memory represents a life. Every life tells a story, and every story reflects our responsibility to humanity. The exhibition of Silent Screams, a testament to justice, a tribute to human dignity.
Just by watching the video, it not only reminded me of how I felt at the time, but also it's inevitable not to get emotional. And if this is what I'm feeling just by watching the video or looking at those, possessions of the people, I can't imagine how it was for them and their loved ones. I would like to introduce you one of the lovely women who organized this exhibition that I met in the exhibition of Silent Screams. You know how some people appear calm and quiet, yet their presence and the few words they share speak volumes? That's exactly the impression she left on me at the time. I'm talking about Aslıhan Kaş. She's a human rights advocate, educator, and filmmaker based in New Jersey. She holds a BS, a Bachelor of Science in Biology from Istanbul University, and worked for 17 years as an educator and general manager in leading schools, overseeing curriculum, teacher development, and student programs. Since 2018, she has served as a board member at Advocates of Silence Turkey and as director of Exhibition of Silent Screams, a traveling exhibition we just watched, presented across the United States, Canada, and even Europe. She has also contributed to human rights reports documenting violations against women, children, and civil society. Aslıhan is also the author of Being the Other in Turkey and director of 2 award-winning documentaries, which we will be seeing in a few minutes later, Metamorphosis and The Other Children. Married and a mother of 2, she brings both expertise and personal commitment to her advocacy. Please welcome Aslıhan Kaş.
Hello everyone, my name is Aslıhan Kaş. I have been living in the United States for about 7 years, and before coming here I worked in the education field in Turkey for 17 years as a general manager. Today I serve as the board member and program coordinator at Advocates of Silence Turkey. After the coup attempt in 2016, many innocent people, including close friends of mine, lost their jobs, were imprisoned and forced into extremely harsh conditions. When I came to the United States, I carried a promise in my heart to speak for them and defend their rights. Since arriving here, I have worked with Advocates of Silence Turkey on many different projects, and today I would like to share some of the projects I coordinate. One of them is the exhibition of Silent Screams. We started this project 3 years ago, and so far we have presented it in 38 different locations. We have collected more than 500 memory items from over more than 160 people. Each item reflects a powerful story of hope, courage, and the struggle for justice. This year, showing our exhibition in New York and Pennsylvania state capital was one of the most meaningful moments for us. If you'd like to host the exhibition of Silent Screams in your city, university, or cultural center, we are ready to collaborate. I also worked on documentary films. I directed The Other Children, which has the stories of children who grew up while their parents were in prison. I also directed Metamorphosis, a film about the courage and transformation of women who resisted oppression in Turkey. Both films received awards from international festivals, and Metamorphosis will soon be available on online platforms. We are now working on a documentary about sick prisoners in Turkey. There are hundreds of people in prison who are seriously ill but denied proper medical care. In this film, we share real stories. A woman who can barely see but was still kept in prison. A mother who gave birth in prison and her baby had to stay in intensive care for a week. An older man with serious kidney problems who also stayed in prison. With this documentary, we want to be the voice of people who have suffered in silence for far too long. All of these projects, the exhibition, the documentaries, and our advocacy work depend on financial support. Your generosity on Giving Tuesday, helps us continue this mission and to reach more people. Thank you so much for standing with us.
Alrighty.
And I
So-
think we're going to get an update.
Yes, let's pull it up.
See where we're at.
Ooh,
Oh my goodness. Do you see that? 45 monthly donors.
we tripled.
Oh, we're almost a third of the way there. Way to go.
Indeed, indeed. You know, the interesting thing about the target that we had this year, that got me thinking in the beginning is like, oh, instead of like a target amount, we were targeting monthly supporters. And it got me curious, like, where was the inspiration coming from? And after giving it a little bit of thought, I realized that in order to keep our work alive, this monthly supports will give stability to plan ahead and grow our programs and stay present for those who depend on us every single month. And I'm like, okay, this makes perfect sense. And this very event itself is a perfect moment if those who are interested in like supporting ASD is to, pull out your cameras and, scan the QR code. And the donations are going to be used for multiple initiatives or ongoing projects or the projects that are, in plan. Last year, we had 75 new supporters, like monthly supporters. And this year, we're hoping to open our arms to 150 more big-hearted, generous individuals joining the ASD family.
The thing about monthly supporters is, yes, it's every month. It kind of helps us figure out the budget and all the technical things about that. But it's also what it does to the person who gives.
Mhm.
Because the person who gives then, if every month you're making a payment to AST, you're seeing that money go out of your account, whatever it is, however much it is, that keeps it in your mind. That keeps reminding you of how important this project is. And it may remind you to go check out the website, see what's new on the website, because we're always putting new stuff up on the website. What's happening next? What's happening next? Freedom Convention's coming up. What's the new publication? Our website is very robust. There's always a new document. I just had a document published. There's always something new coming out, new information coming out, so you can stay on top of what's happening. The exhibit may be coming to a new town. Maybe it's coming near you. It's that monthly thing just kind of keeps it in your consciousness, keeps you aware of what's happening. And that's why I love it. It's like a tithe, which is I guess that's kind of a Christian thing, but doesn't matter. It's a monthly contribution to support a worthwhile project, which is kind of a cool thing. Our next guest is somebody I've met. He lives here in Kansas City. He was a longtime editor for the Kansas City Star, our famous newspaper in our Kansas City area. He was a columnist in the religion section. And he's written a number of books, and he's an amazing speaker. He's really an amazing man too. I really love every time I have the opportunity to interact with him and get to know him. Get to have time with him. He frequently comes to dinners and so on and so forth. He's from Woodstock, Illinois, but I think he would probably call himself a Kansas City person now. He joined the paper in 1970, so he's been in Kansas City for a number of years, let's just call it that. And he spent nearly 3 decades on the editorial page, later wrote for the faith section until 2008. Since 2004, he's written the daily Faith Matters blog on the Star's website and continues to contribute columns to the Presbyterian Outlook and the National Catholic Reporter. And let me just tell you, the National Catholic Reporter is read by a lot of people, both all across the country, the United States, but also internationally. And the National Catholic Reporter is a big deal. And Flatland, KCB TV's digital magazine. I look at Flatland all the time. I love Flatland. He's the University of Missouri Journalism School graduate. He was part of the star team that won the 1982 Pulitzer Prize for local reporting and has received numerous other awards, including the Wilbur Award for Best Religion Column. Bill Timaeus is the author or co-author of several books, among them A Gift of Meaning, They Were Just People, Visitation, Woodstock, Jesus, Pope Francis, and a Protestant Walk into a Bar. Pope Francis and a Protestant Walk into a, that's a kind of a funny one. And The Value of Doubt. Now, The Value of Doubt, that's his kind of more recent one. I've read that book and it's like, ooh, that's a good book. He's an elder at Second Presbyterian Church in Kansas City, Missouri, and a former president of the National Society of Newspaper Columnists. He's married to Marcia Timaeus, and together they have 6 children and 8 grandchildren. And he's a wonderful man. So,
greetings. My name is Bill Timaeus, and I'm a journalist here in Kansas City, Missouri. I want to say just a few words about Giving Tuesday, which happens on December 2nd. That will be another opportunity for you to support the organization called Advocates for Silenced Turkey, or AST. My friend Aya Besson serves on that group's board of directors. AST describes some of its work this way. Advocates for Silenced Turkey publishes detailed reports exposing human rights violations in Turkey, amplifying the voices of the silenced and the oppressed. Many AST workers and advocates are part of the Hizmet movement that grew out of the work of the late Fethullah Gulen, now of blessed memory. You can find out more at silencedturkey.org. Dictatorial leaders around the world, including in Turkey, seek to control the lives of people over whom they have gained political power. But you can do something about that. You can support the work of AST by contributing funds to it on Tuesday, December 2nd. I hope you will do that. The result just might be that more people in Turkey and elsewhere will be free to live out their hopes and dreams. Thanks for listening.
Bill Timaeus was talking about Giving Tuesday, but we're having Giving Tuesday on Sunday. So you can give on Tuesday. You can give out, you know that there's a Popeye commercial or Popeye cartoon that says, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. Anyway, so just kind of a funny thing, but he's right. It's just giving season. It is the season of giving. And so we hope you'll be generous. When Aslihan was speaking, she mentioned the documentary Metamorphosis. And we have a little introduction to Metamorphosis, the documentary. And I have to say, if you have a chance to see it, you need to see it. It's being shown privately because it's not yet up on the YouTube platform or wherever it's going to be. It will be released soon. But when we're showing them privately, and we think it's going to be maybe on Amazon or on. He says he just told us.
In 2 months.
He said Apple or Amazon Prime in the next couple months is where, there's a lot of negotiation that has to go on with how that's going to work. But in the meantime, we've been showing it privately to small groups. And actually, I like doing it that way because I've shown it to a number of groups. We bring the small groups together to show it because it's so emotional. 4 women, they really shared very deeply and intimately what happened to them when they were detained and taken into prison and how they were tortured. And they didn't just say, oh, they took me in and they were mean to me. I mean, they really describe it in graphic detail. So it's hard to watch, but you have to watch it because the story has to get out. And because if you just say, oh yeah, it's a horrible thing, and don't really look at how deeply wounding the trauma is. And, Kubra, in your line of work, you hear about it all the time. You hear about how deeply wounding the trauma is. It's forever life changing, and there's no reason for it. It's uncalled for. So anyway, it's won lots of awards in Best Women Film at the World Film Festival. It's going to be shown at the New York Film Festival. That's going to be part of the deal. That's kind of a big deal. Best documentary in the Amsterdam, first prize at the Amsterdam New Cinema Festival, honorable mention at Touchstone Independent Film Festival, and a number of other things. It'll flash that up on the screen, all of its awards, but it's received a number of awards because it is so authentic, so real, so deeply moving. Well, I'm just going to let you watch the video now after that.
Despite all the pressure, women continue to fight for justice, freedom, and equality. This is not just their story. It was a test for all of us. They resisted. We witnessed. Since 2016, hundreds of women in Turkey have lost their lives in prisons, on migration routes, or under state oppression. Tens of thousands have been forced to risk death and flee their country. This documentary gave them a voice, and the truths it told echoed around the world. Amsterdam New Cinema Film Festival, Best Documentary Award. Cannes World Film Festival, Best Women's Film Award. Gothamite Film Festival, New York, Best Documentary Award. Touchstone Independent Film Festival, honorable mention. Halo International Film Festival, honorable mention. Oneros Film Awards, New York, finalist. Luleå International Film Festival, Sweden, finalist. These honors prove once again that silenced lives will not remain silent. Because this is not just a documentary, it is a call that follows the traces of truth.
I mean, just from the trailer, it's evident that it's more than a documentary. And I believe that in honoring like the courage of these women, as the name implies, like metamorphosis will show us how the resiliency can transform a person's, life. So the woman's resilience under the oppression, I'm sure we will have a lot of pieces that we can take in and, reflect on it and hopefully internalize and find inspiration from it.
Well, one of the things that you see so far just in our stories tonight is we have the exhibit of the artifacts, we have the videos, we have the publications. AST doesn't back down. We have the Freedom Convention. AST is involved in the very difficult work of advocacy. They don't do the fluff stuff. They don't do the easy, if there is such a thing, they don't do the easy work. They do the really, really hard work of people who have suffered greatly, of helping people who have suffered greatly. That's not an easy thing to do. It's not something that should be mistaken or taken lightly in any sense of the word, because the stories that you'll hear in Metamorphosis and the other children, oh my gosh, hearing children tell you what it was like to have their parents taken away in the middle of the night to go to prison and wondering if they'll ever come back. I mean, wow, so yeah, AST does the hard work, and the people who are there are just amazing. All the people who do that work are amazing people. So our next speaker is Daniel Kitron. He's a policy analyst with the Florida legislature in Tallahassee. He began his role 6 months ago and has quickly developed a strong interest in legislative research, policy development, and supporting data-driven decision-making for the state of Florida. Daniel brings a thoughtful, analytical approach to his work and is enjoying the opportunity to contribute to meaningful public policy in Florida.
Hi everyone, happy holidays. My name is Daniel Kitron. Last fall I was working on a project for graduate school researching human rights violations taking place in Turkey, and a lot of the most important and valuable resources that I found were reports published by Advocates for Silenced Turkey that documented human rights violations with testimony of survivors and other evidence, including names of perpetrators. And so it's information that, well, for one thing, it's something that I really don't think a lot of people are aware of, what's going on in Turkey with the crackdown on civil rights. It's something that I really wasn't aware of, and something that I definitely wouldn't have been able to find and include in my report if not for this crucial work that Silenced Turkey is doing to document it. And in addition, they're also raising awareness with filmmaking and activism, and so it's just very, very crucial work, but kind of an underrepresented cause. So if you're watching this, I hope you will consider including a gift for Silenced Turkey in your giving this Giving Tuesday or this holiday season. So thank you for watching and happy holidays.
As Daniel mentioned, the importance of the reports cannot go without mentioned. And I would like to talk about the APH project, Archiving the Persecution of the Hizmet Movement, which is a very comprehensive effort to document the human rights violations faced by Hizmet members, especially after July 15 to 2016. So the mesmerizing things about the APH is it preserves these stories through over 1,200 hours of recorded interviews, more than 280 audio files, and 100 plus written accounts, including letters, diaries, and personal reflections. And the project has also produced 13 books out of it: graphic novels, sketch-based art projects, poetry collections, and narrated stories published on YouTube. So it is more than an archive. It is a project of memory, testimony, and resilience. This also highlights the important work of Advocates of Silenced Turkey's investigative reports. They're big on it. You know, these reports dig deep into the erosion of human rights and civil liberties in Turkey. They reveal how educators, students, and civil society organizations have been targeted. They also document the misuse of anti-terror laws, judicial failures, torture, gender-based abuses, and the struggles of the refugees fleeing persecution. Together, these publications reveal the mechanisms of authoritarianism and call on the world for accountability, justice, and the solidarity. And we have a video about it. Carrie, you might have heard the saying in Turkish, spoken words fly away and written words remain, forever, or like the palest ink is better than the sharpest memory. I feel like this video is very much speaking to that saying. And luckily, Advocates of Silence Turkey has left so many proofs that will remain as an evidence in history.
I love that. The palest ink is better than the sharpest word. Is that right?
Mhm.
The sharpest spoken word? That's
Sharpest memory.
sharpest memory. That's a good one. I think I collect the AST books, and I have them in a box, and I have them I have little tabs on them. I have them marked up. And whenever I go to speak someplace, I take them all with me, and grab the box and I take it with me, because they're all so good. They're all so well done, and their stories, again, they're the historical record of what's happening. They're firsthand accounts. In most cases, they're firsthand accounts of people's journey. The baby in the bag, the woman who had to carry her baby in a suitcase to get him across the border, to sneak him across the border, and what trauma that caused her. I mean, it's just amazing. There's so many unbelievable stories, and all of the people who got on little rubber boats to cross a really tumultuous river or sea to get to a country of safe haven, and then all the dangers they had to go through to get to a country that would accept them. And it's just unbelievable, the exile. And yeah, so yes, so those books are amazing. And the website, now you're going to tell us all about the website, right? We've updated the website, and it's pretty easy to navigate now.
Yes, yes. And our team was very much intentional in like thinking how to improve accessibility, navigation, kind of like anything that would enhance your overall experience as supporters of our human rights work. So we will have a video that will walk you through the new features, show you where to find our reports, publications, and projects, and explain how you can get involved more easily through our refreshed platform. You will also see how the new site provides detailed statistics on human rights violations in Turkey. Let's take a look.
We are excited to announce that Advocates of Silence Turkey has launched its newly redesigned website. With a modern, accessible, and user-friendly design, it is now easier than ever for you, our valued supporters, to engage with our work. Advocates of Silence Turkey is one of the leading organizations that documents, archives, researches, and reports on human rights violations in Turkey. Our mission is clear: to ensure justice and to be the voice of all victims. On our renewed site, silenceturkey.org, you can discover faster and easier navigation, access all events and projects in just one click, explore our books, publications, and reports on human rights in Turkey, and get involved, whether by volunteering or supporting our initiatives. Only together can we build the strength to make a lasting impact. With gratitude, Advocates of Silence Turkey.
I was just checking the stats while we were having the video run. We've got almost 400 viewers online with us right now. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty great. And if there's any questions or comments that are appropriate, we can get them forwarded to us, and we can see what's happening. What's happening there? But our next speaker, send those in, and then after our next speaker, I'll see what we can do to address those. Our next speaker is Andrea Barron. She has been the Advocacy and Communications Program Manager at the Torture, Abolition, and Survivors Support Coalition. Wow, TASSC. Torture, Abolition, and Survivors Support Coalition. That's a mouthful. And that's probably got to be a really difficult job. It's an international organization, and she's been there since 2013. She works closely with torture survivors, mostly from Africa and the Middle East. She prepares them to testify in the United States congressional offices and before the United States State Department officials. That's probably another difficult job too, I don't think. She has trained survivors throughout the United States and in Africa. Before coming to TASSC, Andrea was a senior program manager for civic engagement at the Washington Center for Internships and Academic Seminars, where she organized volunteer projects for college students on Israel and Palestine, homelessness, the environment, and immigrant rights issues. Andrea was an adjunct professor of history at George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia from 1999 to 2015, where she taught classes on modern Middle East history and global women's rights. She graduated from New York University and holds a master's degree in history from Boston College. Her articles on the Arab-Israeli conflict, Palestinian women, and the U.S. asylum process have been published in the Washington Post, the Baltimore Sun, the Miami Herald, the Journal of Palestine Studies, and the Forward. So let's welcome her.
Hi, my name is Andrea Barrett from Washington, D.C. I'm here to encourage you to support Hizmet and Advocates of Silence Turkey on December 2nd, which is Giving Tuesday. I have been a longtime supporter of international human rights, especially survivors of torture, and also of Hizmet for many, many years. In the last year, I have visited Turkey several times to support young teenage girls, young women, and mothers and grandmothers who are being falsely accused of terrorism simply because they are allegedly supporters of someone named Fethullah Gulen, a late Islamic cleric, and they're being tried, could end up 15 years in prison, and all they do is study science, math together, and pray together. And the other thing Hizmet does is here in the United States, they support organizations that combat hunger, poverty, and disease. They also organize iftars, dinners during the holiday of Ramadan, that are multi-faith events, bringing together Muslims, Christians, Jews, people of other faiths, which we desperately need now in the United States. I've been to many of these iftars. I had a great time. I met wonderful people and ate delicious Turkish food. Please do donate to Hizmet and Advocates of Silence Turkey on Giving Tuesday.
So I think we're going to get an update now on where we're at with donations and pledges.
Drum rolls, please. Woohoo!
Oh my goodness, do you see that?
It's 90.
90 donors. That's the way to go. Thank you, everybody. Wow, that is amazing.
Halfway through it. More than halfway through.
I know.
And before, Carrie, do you remember like last year we would have the updates on our group chat, like behind the scenes we would see the numbers, but right now like we see the numbers as the audience like sees, so the anticipation kind of builds up beforehand. So every time our tech person opens the numbers, I hold my breath, but the numbers so far is going great.
I know it's just as much a surprise to us as it is to because we don't know. Yes, and so we invite you also, if you have any questions, to add into the chat or comments to add into the chat. I mean, you can tell us how wonderful we are because we already actually kind of know that because Kubra is amazing. And I'm just a tag along, just so you know. But, you know, it's a beautiful thing because, again, the work we're supporting is not easy work. And it's really kind of a big deal. And so now we're going to have another video. Okay, we've been given an excellent question, Kubra. And frankly, because we don't have a crystal ball, well, actually I do, but it's in the other room. We can't actually know the exact answer, but I can tell you what the law says because I've done a little bit of research on this. What will happen to the people or the kids whose parents have been arrested in Turkey, and that maybe they're here, or people who are here, will they be granted asylum? I was just a quote expert witness on an asylum trial not long ago for a person from Turkey. And there was a little bit of a technical glitch. We, because of the country conditions report, which is an official State Department report, we cannot return people to Turkey because we know about the government know about the human rights violations in Turkey that Hizmet people would be subjected to if they were returned. So legally, we cannot return them to Turkey. We can deport them to another country if another country will accept them, but it's kind of unlikely. However, the Trump administration kind of does whatever it wants to do these days. And so with this latest thing with the shooting in Washington, D.C., I saw that one of the 19 countries listed, I saw this on the news this morning, one of the 19 countries listed was Turkmenistan, which is kind of random. Why would they pick Turkmenistan? I don't know. It's a Turkic country. But Turkey was not listed. So people who come here and seek asylum based on the fact that they're Hizmet should be granted legal relief. And their asylum case will take a very long time to go through the courts because of the backlog. But they should be granted, the ability to stay here. However, if they come and they cross the border, they have to use some kind of special app to cross the border based on what the Biden administration came up with. They don't use that app to request an appointment. That's a technical glitch that can keep them in detention for an extended period of time or raise the amount of bail they have to pay. And the amount of money it costs now to immigrate, to request asylum and pay for all the fees is very high. And so helping these people is very expensive. I will tell you that. I know that firsthand. So the answer to the question is we really don't know because asylum in this country right now is been put on hold theoretically by the Trump administration. We don't know what will happen. We know that we can't send people back to Turkey, but we don't know what will happen to them at this point. So yes, it's really more important than ever that we be advocates for people who have no voice. It's really more important than ever. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this work. And every day, it's more important than ever that we get busy and do what we can do. So great question. Thank you.
That was very encompassing one. And I was like, how are we going to respond? And Carrie, you jumped in very well. And
well, only because I've worked with immigrants for a long, long time, but also I just had this recent experience with the legal system with an immigrant from Turkey and found out what the law was. But every day it changes, every single day. Mm-hmm. In advocacy work, you have to be really ready to change, to flex, because you never know what's going to be thrown at you, and you never know what situations. But the most important thing is we can't let people be returned to be tortured. We just can't. We have to do everything we can, and that costs money, and that's why we're here. Anyway, let's talk about wolves and lambs. Lambs and wolves.
I mean, kind of like this answers you were giving is kind of going with this analogy. And I would like to read a quote from a young voice, as young as 11 years old. They say, we don't get to choose our family or our country when we are born. I hadn't really noticed that until the summer I turned 11. Summer vacation was just around the corner. My best friend Selma and I dreamt of endless days of play, adventure, and freedom. But everything changed suddenly. That summer turned our world upside down. We began to relearn the meaning of justice, conscience, and freedom. Growing up sometimes means facing the decisions of those you love most, and sometimes realizing that the difference between a wolf and a lamb is as vague as a cloud in the sky.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful. And so this
Indeed.
Wolves and Lambs animated story is a film project by Advocates of Silence Turkey. And it helps us bring this story to life for the children whose voices have been silenced. And there's no more vulnerable person than a child. And many, many, many children's lives have been upended by this genocide that's occurring, this civil death that's occurring in Turkey. For the family still searching for justice, it may never come, or we think it may never come. But, every day, we work toward it. And that is the key to hope. The hope is that tomorrow the sun's going to come up and justice will prevail. Even in these darkest moments, the sun's going to come up. And we are going to work for justice to happen.
We don't get to choose our family or our country when we are born. I hadn't really noticed that until the summer I turned 11. Summer vacation was just around the corner. My best friend Selma and I dreamed of endless days of play, adventure, freedom. But everything changed, suddenly. That summer turned our world upside down. We began to relearn the meaning of justice, conscience, and freedom. Growing up sometimes means facing the decisions of those you love most, and sometimes realizing that the difference between a wolf and a lamb is as vague as a cloud in the sky. Wolves and Lambs, a powerful new animated film project by Advocates of Silence Turkey. Help us bring this story to life for the children whose voices have been silenced, for the families still searching for justice, for the hope that survives even in the darkest moments. Total budget goal, $35,000.
That animation is pretty amazing. I want to know how they did it. I kind of want to know how they did it, but maybe they'll teach me. I don't know. So our next video is Joshua Hoops, who is a professor of communication and known for his work in media literacy, public speaking, and interpersonal communication. He has a commitment to empowering students as confident and ethical communicators. Boy, that's rare. Ethical communicators in this day of social media. Wow, I like this guy, right? He integrates research, real-world application, and hands-on practice in the classroom. Joshua's academic interests include storytelling, communication theory, and the ways digital media shapes human interaction. He is widely appreciated for his engaging teaching style and his dedication to helping students find their voice and communicate with purpose.
Hello, my name is Josh Hoops, and I've partnered with the Advocates for Silence Turkey for many years. As a teacher, I believe deeply in the power of informed, compassionate citizenship, which is why I support AST an organization dedicated to being the voice of people in Turkey who cannot speak freely for themselves. Their stories deserve to be heard. And so in my classroom, I've asked my students, college students, to engage directly by speaking with members of AST, hearing their lived experiences, and reflecting on what it means to stand up for human rights. Together, we are building awareness, empathy, and a commitment to justice. And this is why I support proudly Advocates for Silenced Turkey.
Wow, just was what he does as an occupation. He really chooses his words like carefully, and I quickly, quoted what he said, which is like being an informed, compassionate citizenship. Like such three profound words coming together.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. If we could have more of that, that'd be great.
Indeed. Now I would like to take a moment to honor a past event that happened last year around this time on December 2nd, 2024. In Toronto City Hall, there was the Art for Human Rights exhibition. And this exhibit used the universal language of art to tell the stories of those who suffered persecution in the aftermath of July 15th coup attempt in Turkey. So there were stunning oil paintings. The exhibition gave voice to the silent pain of so many people, including, unfortunately, infants imprisoned with their mothers, individuals who lost their lives under torture, and families forced to flee their homeland and face unimaginable hardships on dangerous migration routes. The gallery was located in the heart of Toronto. It invited visitors to witness these stories with both their eyes and their hearts. It was a space where human rights violations were not just documented, but felt. It was a place where art became a bridge between the suffering and solidarity.
This event, organized by the Canadian Turkish Friendship Community and Silenced Turkey, is more than just an exhibition. It's a call to action. Through the universal language of art, we are shedding light on the human rights crisis in Turkey. This exhibition is not a random exhibition. All the stories you see here are not random stories. We are talking about more than 500,000 people who have been in prison, directly in Katya. We are talking about more than too many people directly impacted. Many of them are children, unfortunately. When they apply for jobs, good employers see, okay, there's a security clearance, security check. Oh, you are designated as a terrorist by the government. The other aspect is, okay, no job, you cannot feed your family. This is a huge pull of stress on you. You want to leave the country, you had to travel back. We cannot leave the country. You are trapped. You are not to leave the country. The only way is to leave the country illegally. And there's just some ways, and many people tried when it's a river between Turkey and Greece. There is a river called Maritsa. And people's journey nights, later on the rail, trying to cross the border. What happens if any children are he drowned and they died. Many people who tried to get their freedom back, they were unable to, unfortunately, pass that river. So I would say to say, lest we forget. Lest we forget. You don't forget. You keep your number. You keep your number.
This is called a social genocide, and when we look at the historical examples of social genocides, look at what happened to Jewish people in Germany, what happened in Rwanda, what happened in Ethiopia, and the different parts of the world. Although they came here and they sought a refuge here, kind of found the freedom here, the impacts of that is the impact of that hate crime still continues to follow that And some of the impacts that we found was they had to change their school, they had to change their neighborhoods, their lifestyles, their cars. They don't want to go out in the nights. The trauma level, the PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder level were very high for those people.
Yes. Yes, when we had the exhibit in Toronto, it was amazing how many people came. We even had one of the PMs come to the exhibit, and then they followed that with the art exhibit. That's amazing. Toronto had a really good crowd there for everyone. So moving on, I happen to be a member of the Advocates of Silenced Turkey Advisory Board. Did you know that, Kubra? We started it, I guess, over 5 years ago. Ayup invited me to be one of the members. I'm like, sure, whatever. And we meet monthly. So tonight, I'm honored to share this message from the AST Advisory Board. We are a dedicated group, and we are from all over Arizona, New York, Washington, Kansas, Missouri, and Texas, just to name a few of the places. And for more than 5 years, this team has been meeting consistently, giving our time, energy, and days and nights to be a voice for the voiceless in Turkey. Our commitment to the Hizmet community and to defending human rights has been unwavering. Our board has supported countless AST projects, always working to raise awareness and advocate for justice. And now we are focusing our efforts on a powerful new initiative, and it's the screening of Metamorphosis. Whenever we can, we've hosted screenings. In the film that reveals the deep oppression and hardships of women in Turkey that continue to face. You've seen the intro to the film. We are grateful to be a part of the leadership and to be able to have a place for our compassion and our work to make a difference. So the video will be, we have a little video message from the AST advisory board, but I want to say one more thing. We have a person on the advisory board who is a professor at Wichita State University, and she wrote a play about what happened in the Pak-Turk schools in Pakistan, which directly impacted families very near and dear to us, right? Who were abducted and abducted by the is MIT or MTI, the people from Turkey, abducted them and took them back to Turkey, and closed the schools, closed the Pak-Turk schools, the Hizmet schools in Turkey, and all within a matter of days. It was a horrible experience, but Gretchen Ike wrote a play, and we've performed that play on virtually during COVID, and we've performed it live a couple of times. So this advisory board has been very active and very engaged, and it's just another way to get the message out beyond the borders of the Turkish community and into kind of mainstream America and Canada.
Hello, everybody. This is Ayup Esen. I am with the Advocates of Silence Turkey, and we are just having our advisory board meeting, and we have participants from all around U.S., including Arizona, Kansas, Missouri, Wichita, and Spokane, Washington. And we'll just talk about Metamorphosis, and some of our friends either already hosted or will be hosting Metamorphosis in their own cities. And let's start with Kerry, please.
Yes, we've hosted Metamorphosis in a couple of locations in Kansas City. It's had a very powerful impact. People are very moved when they view the
when they view the video, you can't help but be moved. And they've had some really good questions and good discussion around the film. We also hosted it at Emory University virtually, and I think that went very well. The students were really interested in what was happening, and so it was very informative.
Thank you, Geraint. Gretchen, I think you are going to host in Wichita.
Yes, I'm Gretchen. We're really excited at the Global Learning Center of Wichita to be hosting Metamorphosis and to have Dr. Ayup Essen leading the discussion that follows the film. The numbers of people that have been arrested and mistreated since the 2016 coup attempt are just astronomical, and it's very disturbing what's happening. So I'm especially excited to see this film because it will raise consciousness to what's going on in Turkey, but also inspire people by the resilience of the women the 4 women who are the featured in this film. We're excited. December 14th in Wichita, Kansas.
Thank you, Gretchen. And Satbir, I think you have creative ideas about your approach in Arizona. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you so much, Ian. Yes, I'm Satbir. I live in Tucson, Arizona. I've seen the film twice, Metamorphosis, and it's such, I don't want to dissuade people from watching it, but it is always difficult to hear of the pain of others. And I call upon you to have the courage to do that, to be witness to it, because that is so important to the people who experience it. It matters so much that people who are outside of their culture, outside of their experience, care. So I encourage you to look for a screening and watch it, share in it. I am looking at the possibility of it being shown at a film festival here in Tucson in 2026, run by an independent cinema called the Loft Cinema, which is a very high quality independent theater in our community and has been here a very long time. And I've hosted other films there, and we have little dreams with it that the producer director would come in person and that Ayup would come in person to be there to talk to the audience participants who see the film in the film festival. Right now it's just a dream, but Martin Luther King had a dream too, and it manifested, and that's what we plan to do. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Satbir. We also have a few screening announcements maybe. One is through St. Paul School of Theology, and they have alumni throughout US. And they will invite their alumni as well as the active current students on March 26th. January 22nd, Second Presbyterian Church in Kansas City, Missouri will be hosting. And a big surprise, hopefully, Harvard is interested, but that will be a big deal. We will let you know once that dream comes true. Have a great day. Thank you.
Yes, so the video just showed Ayup and the rest were women, but no, our advisory board has men and women, but only just a few people spoke because we didn't want it to go on and on, so.
Okay, and the long awaited.
What, are you kidding me? We've got 120 monthly donors. Wow.
Yes, such a pleasant surprise. I was asking behind the scene, like, how close are we to 150? And our tech guy was not letting me know. But
he was keeping that a secret.
120.
Oh,
Wow.
that is
Scary.
That is pretty great. That is amazing. That is really amazing. As a matter of fact, it's see, we're gonna have.
Imagine if it lasted this a little longer, how many more we will have. So time flew really fast, and we're already kind of like close to the second last speaker of the night, Mark.
Right. And by the way, before we go to that, if anybody has any more questions that they'd like to zing at us, now's the time before we go. Again, keep those cards and letters coming, but go ahead and put them in the comments.
Awesome. Yes, we will try to address them before our time ends tonight. So that brings me to the next and second last speaker of the night, Mark Webb. Mark is a professor of philosophy at Texas Tech University in Lubbock, Texas. Known for his thoughtful and engaging approach to teaching, Professor Webb specializes in philosophy of religion, epistemology, and the intersection of belief, culture, and reasoning. Throughout his career, he has been recognized for fostering open dialogue, critical thinking, and respectful exploration of diverse ideas in the classroom. He brings decades of academic experience to Texas Tech, where he is valued for his clarity, intellectual rigor, and his commitment to helping students examine complex questions with honesty and depth. Professor Webb's work reflects a deep dedication to understanding human belief systems and encouraging meaningful ethical conversation across communities.
Since the Hizmet movement began in the 1970s, it has always been a movement of peace and service, of people helping people, people meeting the needs of people, and it's never been political. To this day, it is not political, and yet the modern government of Turkey has decided, for some reason, that members of the Hizmet movement are a threat. And so, they've arrested over 600,000 members of the Hizmet movement and put them in prison, tortured them, separated them from their families, including school teachers, school administrators, charitable workers. It's a sin and a crime, and it should stop. Fortunately, we have this organization, Advocates for Silenced Turkey, who are doing all the work they can to relieve the suffering of these wrongly imprisoned people. And I hope you'll join in their efforts. Particularly when Giving Tuesday comes around, remember AST. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. And our next speaker is Tom Suzy, who is a U.S. representative for New York's 3rd Congressional District, a seat he reclaimed in February 2024 following prior service from 2017 to 2023. He's a Democrat, and he previously served as mayor of Glen Cove from 1994 to 2001 and is Nassau County Executive 2002 to 2009. Tom Suzy holds a Bachelor of Science from Boston College and a Juris Doctorate lawyer degree from Fordham University School of Law. So, wow, he's a pretty big guy. And what's really interesting is this 3rd Congressional District is a very powerful place in New York.
Good evening, I'm Congressman Tom Suozzi. Greetings to everyone at Silenced Turkey this evening. I'm so sorry I can't be with you as I'm out campaigning for governor of New York State. But I want to say thank you, everyone at Silenced Turkey, for all the great work that you've done for so many years. Tashakur. Thank you so much to everyone in the Hizmet movement that I've been involved with for almost 20 years since my days as Nassau County Executive, working with the Turkish Cultural Center of New York, and now as a member of Congress, trying to expose human rights violations throughout the world, but in Turkey specifically. Thank you to the folks at Silenced Turkey for the work that you've done to educate people about the abductions, about the torture, about the human rights violations taking place in modern day Turkey. And thank you and congratulations to all of your honorees this evening. Afita Yildiram, Farida Sharabosh, Ayun Asan, and the Committee of Concerned Scientists for the good work that you do exposing these human rights violations throughout the world, but especially in Turkey. So again, congratulations and thank you to all of you. Tashakur Erdem. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Okay, so I have to apologize for mispronouncing his name, Swazi, not Susie, Swazi. I'm not from New York, so, but you know what? He sounds like he'd make a pretty darn good governor, and he says he's out campaigning, so think about it, citizens of New York. He's, he's been very involved in the Turkish community for all those years, and sounds like he's a good guy and a go-getter, so thank you.
Like seeing appreciation that has been extended through walks of like different occupations, walks of lives, like beliefs. It's been very like uplifting for me. And 2 hours went by so quick, and we're at the end of Advocates of Silence Turkey's 2025 virtual fundraising night. Heartfelt thank you to each one of you. And as we wrap up tonight, I, just want to say one more time, like, thank you, thank you, thank you. This evening has been truly inspiring, emotional for me, and full of joy. And being here, witnessing like all the generosity, sharing this experience with all of you has reminded me of how much good exists in the world and how much it touched me personally. As you may also experience on your daily basis, the headlines of the news is not always the most bright and optimistic ones. So I appreciate you giving your time, your hearts, your support, our volunteers, their time and skills and everything. And together we're creating something truly beautiful. And I feel so grateful to be part of it with all of you.
Well, and we get to hear some parting words from Usman Abi. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name, so I apologize, Usman. You'll have to do that for yourself. He's our fearless leader, though, I will tell you, and he's an amazing man. And he has a great vision for where we should go with and he has a really great vision for where we should go with this organization. And he's so beautiful at empowering. He has an empowering leadership style. And so the volunteers and all the people who work around him are empowered to do this very difficult work. And everybody feels really good about the work they do when they're around him. And so I really adore him. So take it away, sir.
Thank you for your beautiful words. Good evening, distinguished guests, volunteers, and supporters of Advocates of Silence Turkey. I would like to extend a special thank you to Kerry and Kubra for serving as our MC this evening and for their continuous support to Advocates of Silence Turkey. I am also deeply grateful to our board member and fundraising director, Eyüp Esen, for organizing this wonderful evening. Last year, we gathered here for another Giving Tuesday fundraiser event. At that time, we have shared our future plans, made several promises, and asked for your support. Today, I look back, I see that we fulfilled all of those commitments, except one. We had planned to hold more exhibition of silent screen programs in the state houses across the country, but we are unable to do that promise. We had planned to organize 5 exhibition of silent scream. We successfully organized 2 exhibitions at New York and Pennsylvania state houses, but we are unable to complete all 5. We truly believe it is important to bring these human rights violations directly to the policymakers. However, as a New Jersey-based organization, we cannot easily reach other state assemblies or secure rooms for these exhibitions on our own. So we need your support on this. This year we put another goal to be able to organize 5 events in the state houses, and we need your support. We need support of Turkish cultural centers to help us to make these reservations from the state houses to secure a place for us to organize these events. So, dear friends, tonight we are gathered not only to learn about the AST's ongoing programs and future plans, but also to stand together and support this important mission. Since mid-October, we have been reaching out to our network for our year-end donation campaign. As of this evening, as our friends also announced that we have welcomed 120 new monthly donors to AST family. AST relies entirely on individual contributions, as our president mentioned also at the beginning of this event. And we currently have around 800 monthly donors, which is very important, and they are keeping our work alive. I greet each of you with deep gratitude and thank you for bottom of my heart for walking with us through this path. And thank you again for Kerry and Kubra for being our MC tonight and run this event very smoothly. I know that it's not that easy to be able to manage this event from distance, and they are not together with the guests, and still they manage this run the program very smoothly. Thank you again.
Well, and thank you for giving us this wonderful opportunity because it's amazing. I want to say thank you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. Thank you at all of the hard workers for Advocates of Silence Turkey. And I could name, certainly Aslihan, certainly Hafsa, Uzman, Ayub, but I don't even know all the names because there's so many people involved and everybody is contributing something. And every single drop that gets put in the bucket makes a difference. Every single thing, the advisory group, everybody, somebody that makes baklava for an event, somebody that just attends an event. Every single drop in the bucket makes a difference. And I can tell you that our friends back in Turkey and some of our refugees in Europe and Asia, they feel it. They know it. They know our presence. They know our care and concern, and it is meaningful to them. I talk to them every Saturday and Sunday. I teach a class. I teach English on Saturday and Sunday morning to our friends, and I know it makes a difference to them. So your contributions keep this organization flowing. It's meaningful, and I appreciate you. And I think we might have one last update, and then we're done for the evening. Maybe we don't have one last update.
And if we were to wait till that point, I want to say one more sharing. As our logo kind of shows, it's kind of like planting seeds and watering. And sometimes we know who waters, and sometimes we don't know who waters. It kind of doesn't matter too much at the end. At the end, that seeds flourishes and hopefully becomes and turns into the tree, as our kind of logo for tonight shows. So I appreciate for everyone that I know and don't know that has been planting those seeds and folks who are watering it. So yeah. This has been truly meaningful, and doing it together with Carrie has been so much fun, both behind the scenes and also in front of the scene.
I feel like we're old
She's
friends, and the fact that we got to meet in person at the exhibit in Toronto, that was a graced moment. That was really important. And you had to drive all the way from Kitchener, which was
Yes,
quite a
yeah.
drive, right? Yeah. So I mean, she had to drive quite a way to see me. I was like, I'm signing autographs here. No, just kidding. But they were just making fun of a deal. But it's really she drove a long ways. I flew to Toronto. Aslan flew in. We brought all the stuff. It takes a lot to make this happen, and you're a part of it. So thank you. Have a nice evening, everyone, and good night.